World Elite on the blue side here for the first game. OMG over on the red, and instantly respect to Gogong's Rumbles. He's banned away.
Gogong's Rumbles banned away. His tank play has been very consistent, but just removing kind of a tanky, reliable 1v2, 1v1 laner in Rumble, and there's the Diana. Xia gets a respect ban. His first game out.
Yeah, I mean, remember that both Mystic and Xia have not played LPL games this split, if at all, actually, in their history so far. So, you know, only have the trends recently that they can draw on from IEM, but we'll see what else OMG pick on, as they've already gone for Diana. Thresh there, the ban from World Elite, makes a lot of sense against Cloud especially. LeBlanc there, the next ban, so 2 mid lane bans already for OMG.
And they could go for a third. They could just ban away Ahri, which again was another one of his strong performing champions, and say, okay, Xia, straight into competitive play, ban away all your comfort picks that you've just shown at IEM, and already force them into hard decisions and going towards the lower parts of Xia's champion pool.
I think actually the coaches might be talking to the mid laner now as well, being like, you know what else can you play? Because they banned 2 champions, we might need another one.
And the fact that Deficio was bringing up at IEM lots of solo queue games as mid Annie. That's kind of the big question mark. Will we see the Annie pick up? I wouldn't even mind the Annie flex pick being taken first, just to kind of throw a gambit and say, is it going to be mid Annie? You guys don't know. We're not even 100% sure just yet, depending on how the pick ban phase goes. Rek'Sai's the last ban. Ahri's still available. You never give cool Ahri, so just lock it in.
Yeah, sensible last ban there. Oh, targeting Spirit there with Rek'Sai. Lysandra actually banned as well. Another strong champion. Nidalee open, probably other big champion that we could look at here, but I agree with you. Cool shouldn't get Ahri, and Jay looks great on it. Just take the mid laner
Cool just gets Ahri so often. That respect for the threats on OMG, but Kallista's also available. Uzi's Kalista, it might have seen a loss, but it certainly wasn't because of the Kalista. It was a wonderful performance from him last time out. I think you have to take the Ahri, though, and just cede the Uzi Kalista.
Yeah, and they do. So a smart pickup there for World Elite is they get a champion you have to think they want for their fresh mid lane here coming into his first LPL game here. So Xia should take that one away. OMG, plenty of options are available. We mentioned Nidalee Loving's gone to it a couple of times. Lots of popular champions available. You're probably not going to pick the Kalista up right now. Although, again, Mystic, another new player. Not too sure if he plays it as well.
He did play it at IEM, but it wasn't necessarily one of his power picks necessarily. World Elite loved the speed comp, the likes of the Hecarim, Sivir, and just getting some speed picks in there. The Scion as well was another big pick for Aluka. A lot of champions do get through this pick and ban phase. Spirit has his Nidalee available. Rek'Sai banned away. Nidalee available. It's seen a lot of success, a lot of picks of the Jarvan, but there's a lot of flexible options here. It's going to be a tank top laner. That's the one thing you know about World Elite. It's not going to be any sort of ambiguous pick for the top lane. OMG, they can leave their mid pick to last. That's the big thing for them, is they're not pressured into picking anything just yet. I don't know if they're going to go for the Zed. The Zed they've certainly not found a lot of success on. But it's going to be a skill matchup against Ahri. That's worth at least betting on.
Yeah, we'll see. Here we got Diana, Jarvan, of course, for OMG. So very flexible, very standard, like you mentioned already. Morgana and Maokai, the 2 picks there for World Elite. So support support definitely at this stage there for UJ with Morgana and, of course, Aluka. Back with the tank. Sion, interestingly, not banned, but not picked here either. Maokai seems to be everyone's favorite top laner right
Sion
now.
was drawing bans. That showed how great Aluka's performance was on their champion. They were so much better with their engage timings. Gogong's going to get his Nah, I believe Gogong's still undefeated on Nah this season. It's been a very big pickup, and Uzi gets Kalista in the 4th rotation of picks. So often banned against Uzi, but with champion pools changing, with the move to 5.4, picks it up quite late in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, again, Kalista's a champion that seems to be player-specific more than anything else. Some players play her, some players don't. She's quite strong, but I think not overwhelmingly so. So it does fall to Uzi. He's a fantastic Kalista player, don't get me wrong. I think he's possibly one of the world's best, if not the world's best player on that champion. Just looks so good and so comfortable on it. But World Elite do have a couple picks here as well. Mystic especially, a big test for him now as well, coming in as a new Korean AD carry for this team. What's he going to do against Uzi?
I mean, taking the Lucian's a good laning matchup, especially early. The Morgana support's not ideal against Kalista. It doesn't really offer much in terms of peel away from that, barring hitting the Miracle Dark Binding. An insta-lock cool Twisted Fate as the last pick.
There's a lot of Twisted Fate today here, apparently, as Nidalee actually fell very late as well, so Spirit is going to take that away. Curious to see that OMG didn't want it for leveling, but Spirit will be happy to take it in their last few picks as well. We already mentioned the Lucian. That's going to be the combo there moving in for Mystic as his first performance, but cool Twisted Fate, one of the best in the world.
So he's been picking the Zed into the Ahri. It's a skill matchup. This time he just counterpicks himself. Cool goes for the straight counterpick of himself, picks up Twisted Fate into Ahri. Hatong managed to navigate that matchup, but it is a real bad matchup for Twisted Fate. Again, not going for a summoner spell for lane, not taking cleanse, not taking barrier, exhaust, or heal. The mobility summons Ghost and Flash. What that tells me, going to see plenty of attention from Jarvan in the mid lane. But if you do see Twisted Fate navigate that lane, Hurricane Callista comes through, she's going to be able to overextend and get so much CS because Twisted Fate can always be there to react.
Yeah, as we see the jungle matchup now, Spirit versus Loveling. A great matchup here. Two very high-pressure junglers on high-pressure junglers this game, so be interesting to see how that works out. Cool. Like you mentioned, maybe a bit of the self-counter pick there, but again, going to be trying to use his influence in other lanes more than his mid lane.
I tell a lie, he actually, Hatong did not, but Cool does pick up the exhaust just for a summoner spell in mid to have the potential to duel. Mystic versus Uzi, what a first time out in the LPL to be facing up against Uzi's Callista.
Yeah, and it's going to be matchups, great matchups across the board, and with that, let's get on to the Rift. And welcome back onto the Rift here. OMG are taking on World Elite. Is World Elite's first very difficult outing back since IEM. The roster's been revived. We've got two new players here, but World Elite, they still have a very big mountain to climb up.
And it'll be just so interesting to watch those new players. Jia on the Ahri does have the favorable matchup against Twisted Fate. Mystic, though, unenviable task of facing out Uzi's Callista in his first game. As we go to a pause very early and taking what should be a really explosive series. Of course, if that IEM performance hadn't happened, this would have been pretty much written off. We would have said, yep, looks like OMG going to be able to run over World Elite, despite the fact that World Elite have been getting a bit better. I mean, they've been picking a lot of poke champions, a lot of the mid-Ezreal. You felt like OMG, you know, especially if they could get some of those pick mid-game champions like the Ahri, could just blow away what World Elite was showing before. But we were the ones blown away with World Elite's performance at IEM. If they can channel some of that strength here, they could potentially pick up a win against OMG, and they need points if they want to hit playoffs, and they need them now.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of games left to play here. Still a couple weeks of LPL left. As we've said pretty much since the start, it is a very long season that these players have to play. World Elite made a very late change in their roster here, bringing in two new players, kind of finally being like, okay, we need to make a change here. I think they looked to the right spot. STYZ, for all the praise, just didn't perform in the LPL maybe as we expected him to. Of course, he could be back. We'll have to see. But Mystics look fine. She has looked very impressive on the world stage. And feels like Spirit finally has a team that he can maybe rely on a bit more.
And the crazy thing is, despite the fact that it's still a 2 Korean, 3 Chinese lineup, the communication was much more on point than it had been previously at IEM. It looked very impressive. So, as you mentioned, if you enable Spirit, this guy has been performing out of his skin during the LPL. Looked perhaps more impressive in the LPL than he did back in Korea. Again, had less resources, had less teammates to rely upon than he did at Samsung Blue. But his play, selfishly, solo, has been great.
I mean, it's almost funny that in week one, we were, looking at him playing Riven and doing all sorts of stuff and really, going too far to try and hard carry his team. He's honestly been his team's hard carry, but just in a different way, and he's been such an impressive player, not just internationally in their recent success at IEM, but here in LPL as well, despite, like you said, the 12th place that they're still sitting at, by the way. World Elite got a lot to climb up, and Uzi gets the first ward kill.
Uzi got the first CS. Actually, no, Nidalee has one as well, so they're both on the regard in terms of getting early ward kills. The thing to say about Spirit, though, is that if ever he's going to have trust in his teammate, it's going to be right now. After all, they did not win IEM, but they won a lot of hearts. They showed a great level of performance. This is the time to kind of really tell. The acid test will be this weekend. 2 series for World Elite. They need to get points, otherwise it's going to have to be just promotion relegations being navigated. There won't be any hope of escaping or trying to assault the top spots.
No, and the first one's a massive test here as well. As you can see, Spirit just hanging out in the brush, having a bit of a giggle there, rolling around in Cougar form. It's nice that you can now use both of your, most of your emotes in-game now in both forms and nearly level 1. That was obviously a big buff to the champion. And seems that we are just going to have pretty standard jungle stuff.
Overextending for the emotes there, Page Time. I like it a lot. As we see Cool versus Jia, this is the big question, Page Time. How do you navigate this laning phase against the Ahri?
Well, we'll have to see. Cool, like you said, has at least taken a single defensive summoner here for the exhaust. So respecting the matchup a little bit there. Down the bottom, Mystic and UJ will join in for the 2v2. And I don't know if Mystic necessarily wants it, but he's going to get it. A big test now as he goes so aggressive on the Cloud, but Uzi just going to toss autos in there as well. Glitz does so much damage at level 1, but the Ignite's used already there by UJ. Another shield there should protect him, but a massive level 1 trade.
So we saw that trade because Uzi does have experience coming into lane. Will hit level 2 first. I believe it's after the next minion. Maybe the first melee minion it will be. But he should be the first to get to level 2. But despite the ignite, you can see that's why they're positioning aggressively. The minion hasn't died, though.
He actually missed it slightly there. He went to run in with a Ren stack, and it didn't kill the creep as he hopped forward. So misplayed slightly. Now he's level 2, but that might have been a kill for Uzi if he'd just been a bit more on point.
Both ignites are down, but importantly, Mystic's flash is down. We already mentioned how hard this was as a first-up challenge for this Korean AD carry. Uzi's Kalista, just watch it. It's going to do crazy things this game.
And it's so funny to me that Uzi on almost every champion, even in Janna lanes, is willing to play this aggressive as Cool. Eats a spear there by Spirit. Shie just misses the charm, and Cool answers back with some good damage. The flash was used by Ari, but great pressure early on by Spirit.
Yeah, both players use their flash, but that's definitely in Twisted Fate's disadvantage. Only has exhaust in laning phase now. Ari's always going to be pushed up, looking aggressive. Might see the ganks coming through from OMG, but going to need to relieve a lot of pressure because Twisted Fate with no flash against Anari looks like a free kill.
And again, down the bottom lane here, Spirit will actually clear out a couple of creeps for himself. Does get his red buff now, so might even return for another look, potentially in the bottom side. But Uzi, even with a Janna in his lane, we saw this at Worlds, I believe, last year when he played Janna Vayne into any 2v2. Just so aggressive.
Yeah, Janna Vayne, Janna Tristana, those were the lanes he was playing at World Championships. And again, it's the aggression that's the trademark thing about Uzi. It doesn't have to be playing Caitlyn to make you fight for every CS. Plays so aggressively in lane. I also like, though, that Gia is so confident with the 2 wards he has set up, not at all accounting for Loveling's gank pressure, and trying to zone Twisted Fate off the minion wave in mid lane, using the counter matchup to his advantage.
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, again, new player here. First couple competitive games have come quite recently. First major LPL game, or first ever LPL game actually, will be here. But you know, you have to take it. You cool picked this matchup. It's not disrespectful necessarily, but at least he's accepting that, you know, he's in a weak spot. You have to take it to him. That's what's expected of you in this spot.
Yeah, Cool had full information. He's a noted Ari player. He knows how the Ari Twisted Fate matchup goes, but was just happy to take it for team comp because he knows that if he can get pressure in the mid lane, Uzi's going to be able to so overextended knowing that he has Destiny to return. Spirit actually registers there.
Awesome play there by Spirit. Just nails the Spirit and almost assassinates Cloud. So again, continuing to blow flashes in lanes. Loveling is actually chasing Spirit around the jungle, and he's losing every single race.
Wow. I mean, Spirit, this jungler is very, very impressive. You already know that if you watched IEM. Already putting out so much pressure, out-pressuring a Jarvan early on Nidalee. If you hit those spears, that's what you can do, even with the lack of CC.
It's not any Jarvan, Papa Smithy. This is Loveling, one of the most aggressive and pressure-centric junglers in the world. So very impressive stuff for Spirit. He's powered up a little bit, it feels like, from his international trip. I'm not going to credit all of it to IEM. Spirit certainly looked good in the LPL, but he's almost coming back with a fresh burst of wind to move him through, and he just looks so good in the early stages.
We're watching the mid lane. Now we see OMG working their way towards bot. Going to be spot out by a ward, but it's going to be cleared. Talking about Gia again, he did play a couple of games for World Elite Academy. He was on that team previously, so he does have a little bit of LPL experience, but to explode on the international scene in such a high-pressure environment shows that he's not going to be overawed by Cool. He's going to accept the fact that he's in a good matchup and play aggressively. And I like the fact that he can disregard the intangibles of lack of experience, of the big crowd, of all the attention, and play just like what he's played to propel himself to the top of solo queue.
Yeah, Spirit's actually snuck himself into the top side of the map now, so going to do a bit of counter jungling potentially, maybe looking for the red buff. Deep pink ward, though, going to get placed down here, so I like it again. Early Warriors Trailblazer and Spirit. He looks best in the enemy jungle. That's what I'll say about him. So I like that he's getting in there early.
He's just causing so much global pressure. Uzi, for all his early pressure, he hasn't been able to manufacture a massive CS lead. So credit to Mystic, despite blowing his flash early. Only 10 CS is the advantage. We say only 10 CS. That is a noticeable advantage for an AD carry, but Uzi's Kalista, we've seen 20, 30, 40 CS advantages at 10 minutes into the game.
I guess Mystic's just happy it's not the Caitlyn this time, as Spirit does actually steal away the Raptor there, using the high burst damage of Nidalee's Cougar Form Q to take it out. Nice little steal. Loveling continuing to chase after Spirit.
Yeah, Loveling, again, he's actually watching a ghost, you have to say. He's trying to track Nidalee across the map, but Nidalee now level 5 has an experience advantage over Loveling, and just not much he's able to do. They continue to power through. This is patch 5.4, so we saw a lot of 5.2 Nidalee where she could solo down the dragon very early, had a powerful clear, still has a very respectable clear, but definitely isn't quite the jungling force she once was.
No, but still very strong here. Going to clean out the ward there as well. Does throw a spear onto Cloud, dissuades them from stopping that ward being cleared, and Spirit will get it. Aluka now in the top side of the map, actually a bit behind, going in quite aggressive. Is level 6, but not Mega now yet, so just pops back in. Little bit of damage from the Hyper, and Aluka has to get back safely to his turret.
The Loveling's been waiting in the wings. They look like they're going to go aggressively. There's the Destiny.
Yeah, Aluka pops his ulti. He knows what's about to happen to him. He's got to be careful. Use the Twist Events maybe a little early there, Jarvan taking the turret. They go cool though, taking too much damage, and Maokai gets the kill. Going will get the trade, but very well played, Aluka.
Despite the fact that it looked like Loveling had juggled the aggression well, it was just too much. The base stats too low as in the bottom lane. The trading continues as well. Jia is going to try and answer the pressure with as much turret damage in mid as possible.
You can see Mystic's taking quite a bit of damage here. Uzi level 6 now. Might just throw Cloud on, who's got his Ignite. UJ has to be careful. No level 6s here at all on the bottom side. Cloud still moving in. Uzi, I think, baiting him to try and kill Cloud so he can use the Fate Skull, but they won't bite. Mystic does get ignited, but he'll be okay, and mid tower does go down.
So that's such a massive change in pressure. The first use of the Destiny we always track. Turret pushing in, gets an assist, but dies and gives up turret. Suddenly, the safe area for Twisted Fate to farm is looking really minimal.
It is indeed, and Chia is going to go back as well here. Morellonomicon already done at 8 minutes 20. Granted, no boots yet, so a little immobile potentially on the Ahri without her ultimate, but still looking great. And again, Chia, after one of the best possible starts you could have in his first big LPL game.
Yes, snowballed Morellonomicon in a favorable matchup. After the Destiny, you know it's still about 90 seconds on cooldown. Very long cooldown at level 1. Not looking for any magic resist with his early pickups, just going towards a Morellonomicon. This Twisted Fate's trying to play around an Ahri that's already snowballed, basically from farming and taking a turret.
But Spirit snuck down the bottom as well. He's got his Magus finished as well. So these spears landing will do so much damage. Uzi does not take the bait for the binding though, but you have to pick a target carefully. Uzi does flash there, and Spirit with the Black Shield on wanted to go in, but Spirit is going to miss. No hunted passive there, and he'll just back away.
Absolutely. Jarvan is in the area, but as usual, Spirit's been the first one to initiate all this pressure this game. Jarvan waiting patiently. Don't know if he's been spotted by a ward. No, I don't believe he has. Uses the sweeper to confirm that. But again, Loveland's been on the back foot. Spirit's been on the front foot. And that's why the flashes are being blown around the map. And that's what opens up a 700 gold lead for World Elite.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a little thing here, but Spirit, again, best when he's applying pressure to the enemy team, especially an enemy jungler. Loveling, like we've mentioned, just been chasing him all around the map. And even though Spirit hasn't had successful ganks yet, it's been enough pressure. He's blown enough flashes that his laners at least feel empowered to, play aggressively and stay competitive.
I mean, it depends what you define as a successful gank. Of course, not kills, not gold credit, but the flashes. I mean, this is Uzi's Kalista. He's blown the flash of both Cloud and Uzi in this bottom lane from his aggressive ganking and just relieving pressure. Only 8 CS disadvantage for Mystic in this lane. Okay, it's a mid-game carry against a late-game carry with a bit of a lead, but they have the pressure advantage in bottom because of Spirit's play. And Twisted Fate, he's been playing so defensively because he doesn't even have a turret to retreat to.
No, Cool is very afraid, and rightly so. Sentinel will spot Spirit out, though, so Cool has a bit of extra info to work with right now. Good pink ward, actually, there, just above Cool's head, as you could see from before, making sure he's a bit protected. And UJ going to clear up more Sentinels, but Loveling and Cloud really want to kill someone.
Yeah, Loveling and Cloud, absolutely. Cloud is always looking for pickoff, because it doesn't matter if he's playing the Thresh roaming mid, or even just the Janna trying to get kill involvements around the map. Spirit continues to power farm, really wants to pick up the Rift Scuttler. We'll pick that up. And the top lane, nothing really to speak about. Massive CS advantage, though, that we haven't noticed. Understandable with the turret dive that came through, and of course Gogoing did live through all that, so could push in a couple of waves, but 65 to 92, that's bigger than I actually appreciated.
Yeah, Gogoing had a bit of an edge early on when we saw the first dive there onto Aluka, but has clearly built a very substantial lead for himself, and I love the aggressive phage coming through there as well. It's something that we don't see too often on us. They usually have to be ahead to build it, but it's just an item that's so good at getting you ahead and keeping you ahead in lane especially.
And it's a ranged versus melee matchup, so it's not too surprising that Nar can run over a Maokai early. And a lane swap, they're about equal because, of course, they both have ranged wave clear. But in a 1v1 matchup, Gogoing just going to auto-attack freely, with the Phage especially, and disregard everything Maokai's doing. Even able to pick up a Spectre's Cowl to respect Maokai's base damages. Is the Dragon? It's going to be started.
Yeah, OMG have started that Dragon, like you mentioned, with Kalista, especially now that Uzi's got a pretty quick Hurricane already completed. Shouldn't be too tricky to finish that one off. Gogoing actually managing his rage. Cool. We'll spot him off with the ult. He's actually going to go for some kills there. UJ going to get dove on, takes a lot of burst damage, but the Monsoon actually puts UJ back over the top. Cool's forced to flash to find him. Will get the kill there, but that was a bit awkward now as Aluka chases Gogoing over the top. He is Mega now though, but Xie trying to look for a pickoff. Doesn't quite get Uzi Cloud returning back in there, but going very low on health as Luca just tanking everything up. That's going to force the flash out from the Mega Knight. World Elite now have control of the Dragon.
It's only been 1 kill, so if they pick up the Dragon, it's definitely a good trade for World Elite. We'll wait and see if they aggro the Dragon. They finally do. They're in vision. Uzi's sticking around, but with the other blue pills coming through, it should be World Elite's Dragon.
And I think Cloud mistimed that ulti a bit there, popping poor UJ to safety for just long enough to get Aluka in there. So the first Dragon does go down to World Elite, and maybe Uzi's not too happy with Cloud after that. I
mean, you have to think that Uzi Cloud, the Cloud ultimate was for a mini stun next to a wall, but because that wall's so thin, pops him over the cove, and you're right, had to use extra summoners, had to use the flash from Twisted Fate in particular. That was definitely a mechanical mistake. A small one, but it had a big effect on that game, and it probably unsettled the Dragon towards World Elite.
Yeah, I mean, World Elite managed to get it, so they'll pick it up with their very fast Nidalee. I was wondering if Spirit was going to go tier, but has finished his Magus and now has the tier of the Goddess, so going to stack that up quite quickly, despite getting a little later than we've seen in some LPL games. Spirit continuing to try and track Twisted Fate as well. Loveling is in the area, but again, he's always defensively going in, and Spirit's just pouncing aggressively. Going to throw some spears, will miss, but Xie will use his ulti now. That's going to force an EQ out, and he's going to dive back in. Can't quite find the kill, no charm left here as he actually eats a stun, but there's no tower there. Going to Spirit Rush out from under the ulti, and Loveling gets denied.
Yeah, Loveling didn't time it right. Was only 2 Spirit Rush charges. Looked like he didn't have a third when he didn't activate it instantly, but that's what seasoned Ahri players can do. Going find Spirit in the jungle. I believe he'll be the first person to react, so this could be bad for Spirit.
Oh, just missing the stun there with his Nara as well. Mistimed it slightly and didn't have enough terrain to pop him into. Now Spirit going to keep chasing him with the spears. Will miss there as well as he threads the needle between Loveling and Going, but World Elite playing super aggressively in the enemy jungle.
The skirmish trio of Ahri, Nidalee, and Maokai is significantly stronger than what OMG have put together. But in the bot lane, we see a dive.
Yeah, Uzi's dove very deep there, but does go down to UJ. Cloud might be the next to follow up as well as Mystic uses the culling. UJ going to line up a very easy binding. You have to think Cloud does not have his flash. The binding will hit him as the minion wave. Can't save him in time, and Mystic gets another kill.
And for the first time in a Kalista lane, we see Uzi make a significant misplay. Far too aggressive. 1-0-1 for both the bottom laners of WE. Man, WE so powered up with this new lineup.
Yeah, really are. Another blue buff going to get stolen away potentially. Spirit started it off. Xie going to try and zone them off. It did go to Spirit, I believe, who's also conveniently a decent recipient of the buff as well. Going to clear it a pink ward even, and everything going right now.
I mean, I think having the blue buff on Spirit is actually advantageous. Lets him power up the tier that much faster, and the spears during the siege are going to be massive. Lucian's always been a great champion of siege because, of course, the culling does damage from such a long way away. Adding to that the Nidalee spears and even the heal to give more bolts to the culling is actually great synergy. So this is what we actually saw when Samsung Blue first brought Lucian Nidalee onto the competitive scene. Back then, of course, it was Nidalee mid, but it was the same thing from Pawn and Deft in those days. Spirit bringing that flavor to World Elite.
Yeah, nice looking stuff. And Spirit again has been the reason that his team has looked so much better recently. He's been, really the shining light for World Elite as far as the organization and this recent success goes. Certainly powered up here with a couple new members in the mid and AD carry spots, but Spirit himself has just gone from strength to strength.
And we'll just have to see if they can keep up this pressure throughout the map. At the end of the day, it is 2nd v 12th. It'd be a big surprise for World Elite to take any results, but to some degree, we may have to disregard the positions just because the team has just undergone a complete identity change with the roster.
We'll have to be careful because the top side of the map is going very well for OMG. This Gnar is really powering up. We already talked about the Fade. He's got a Spectre Scout and the Merc Treads now as well. So Aluka, as far as damage goes for the Maokai, really not going to be that significant. And the CS lead's building at still about 30 up here for going in the top side. And that should keep growing here against Aluka.
We haven't seen a high win rate for the Narvan combination that OMG have put together. Uzi takes another binding and a burst of damage in mid lane.
Culling actually popped in there as well. Almost gets the kill. Is cool. Yeah, casually pulls out the blue card, but Uzi's like, yeah, I need to get away here. Again, every time Kalista eats the binding, all the hops in the world aren't going to save you.
And this game would have gone so differently if Cool had been able to navigate the early laning phase, at least have his turret available, because they could always threaten the Destiny coming through. But because Cool's showing himself so deep in his own jungle, with the minion waves being pushed up aggressively from Ahri, it's this combination of Xie's Ahri and Spirit's Nidalee that are creating massive map pressure, and it's outdoing the true global of the Destiny.
And if there's anything that a jungle Nidalee wants, it is pressure, a skirmish pressure especially, and Xie's Ahri has been exactly that, like you've mentioned. It's cool. Still going to clear out some CS, not too, actually very far behind, never mind. 30 down against this Ari.
I mean, there's just nothing you can do in this matchup. You always have to respect the fact that a charm registering, even through exhaust, if you time and if you can orb walk forward during those spell casts, you still have kill pressure. So Cool has played so defensively. The Destiny has completely been an afterthought. In fact, it got Cool killed. And speaking of getting killed...
Yeah, he might kill now as well. Spirit Rush will
wow.
get Shia out though, but a Monsoon is enough though, but Cool still takes too much damage, and Shia gets the kill for himself.
The spell cast for the charm happened at the same time as being displaced by the Monsoon, so what looked like a 1500 range charm registered still picked up the kill. You have to respect Xia's Ari, and now OMG... there's just not much they can do. There's so much map pressure for World Elite.
And you know, they're going to keep converting this. The second Dragon's going to be up in 50 seconds. World Elite continuing to pressure towers now. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a rotation to the top lane after this Dragon's been felled as well. Even Lucian is even or up in CS slightly now as well. Yes, Aluk is having a hard time, but he's got his Frozen Heart on quite quickly. Even got a Catalyst in there as well. As long as he's tanky, World Elite can back him up just fine.
But these things have really multiplied in effect for OMG, because remember, with the Hurricane build, Kalista cannot control waves, so she can't actually go to the bottom lane because there's so much map pressure. It's not a safe place to farm. Now she has to farm in the mid. Twisted Fate's relegated to farming in the bot. Against in a long lane, Ari can still get some assassination potential there. Also, being bottom lane cannot react to any pressure in the top lane. Layers upon layers of factors are working against OMG, all from how much Cool has lost from this first Destiny.
And you know what? They're trying to dive a Luca again, and they are going to go in for it, but did not end that well last time. Gogoing's running out of rage as well here on the Meganar. Leveling and Cloud here, both in the area, but Aluka, Frozen Heart here already. He's pretty tanky, but they're going to try it here. Leveling will dive in. Aluka going to pop his ulti. Nara actually misses there as Aluka W'd out from under it, and that was very impressive.
Absolutely. It was untargetable for that half second. It did enough work. WE is going to pick up a free dragon. They're going to get this outer turret as an answer, but that's a second dragon going to World Elite. And that's a lot of resources used, 4 members used just to pick up an outer turret.
And Aluka very sneaky there, although Mystic maybe caught out of position. Cool's going to find him, although that's going to force Mystic to flash out of the way. Teleport coming in down as well as Gogoing wants to find something, but he comes down in mini enough form. All they really have at this point is a rotation to the mid lane.
And they ended up respecting the fact that Spirit was going to be close to that fight, didn't want to fight against him. He's going to finish Sorcerer's Shoes, working towards the Archangels. They're going to take another outer turret, so rotationally, things working fine for World Elite, but we might see a re-engage.
Good Fate's call there to keep Cloud safe. China immediately running out of the way. Now it looks like Aluka's dove into the front lines though, and he's going to take him up. Cool takes so much damage there from a Needly Spear and Gogoing. Now going to get caught out there as well. Cloud's going to be the next to fall. No Fate's call this time. Spirit still hunting with spears. Almost grabs Uzi for the next one, and he's hopping as much as he can, but he will go down to UJ as Morgana picks up that kill and World Elite win that fight clean.
Already 3 kills just for the outer turret. Don't know if they'll be able to rotate and take an objective with 5 members towards the top of the map. It's probably going to be the last outer turret pushed in by the Lucian. Things just keep going worse and worse for OMG. They'll take the turret gold, but this kills the experience, the item disadvantages. Even Uzi has an item disadvantage against his other name AD carry. How many times have we said that in the LPL this season?
I don't know if any so far, or very rarely if ever, as a blue buff will go over to Ari here as well. Just so much pressure on the enemy jungle. Spirit still stealing away camp. Cloud might just get assassinated here as he almost goes down, dropping to about 1/3 of his health. Leveling, even hunted as well, almost eats a spear for his trouble as he tries to get Spirit out of this jungle. And Loveling's a good Nidalee player. He's looked fine on it from the jungle, but I don't think you can give Spirit this champion anymore.
And the big queries are Loveling and Cool this game. Loveling especially been following shadows, never got anywhere near Spirit. Spirit has been in all the right spots. Loveling's tried to counter-gag. He's just been late every time. He has had minimal impact in this game. 0-0 and 2. Okay, 100% kill participation, but that's a little bit of a misnomer given just how little pressure he's had this game. And Cool, I don't understand. He has a penchant for counter-picking himself. Usually that's something we level at Dade, and you might think, okay, doesn't play that many champions, so sometimes might give himself in a bad spot and rely on the fact that he's a mastery person. He loves to master champions rather than necessarily have a big pull. Cool plays a lot of champions. There was no need to counter-pick himself with the Twisted Fate against Ari, but he's had to pay for it.
Yeah, and Loveling actually might have found Xie caught out here, so Twisted Fate's popped the ulti, see if he can make something happen, but a teleport coming in for Aluka, who flashes immediately there, wanting to find Uzi. Actually, he has has managed to get with the Twisted Events. Spirit's moving in. The Spear is going to force Uzi to flash. Loveland going to go down as Mystic gets the kill with the culling. A 4-man Shackles there for UJ as well. A double kill for Lucian. 4 people already dead.
4 people dead. Now 6,000 gold is the lead. World Elite going to push in aggressively. Going's tanky, but if this first spear hits, and it does.
Yeah, first one hits now. Spirit going to chase in a red buff here on Nidalee.
Wow.
Just so many pouncers that nothing Going can real do. He's actually Mega now. Moves him back there, but Spirit's going to move out. Not taking turret any longer, but will die there. Oh my god, the heal was just enough. And there's the ace.
There's the ace. They don't have a minion wave with them, so they will not pick up an objective, but 5 kills, you can't argue with. 5 kills for 0. And there's the surrender.
Oh my god. OMG. Do something very rare and tap the mat at 22 minutes. Look at Spirit, he's laughing. I would be too. He's like, look at all the people I killed.
That's not a laugh out of humor. That's a laugh of disbelief. Last place World Elite. They're showing that IEM is no fluke. It's only one game to talk about, but they dismantled OMG in that game.
Cool looks very upset with someone. It's probably himself, honestly, going 1-4-1 on the Twist of Fate. Spirit, marry me is the call from the crowd.
It's going to have a bit of competition. Get in line, I guess.
I think so too. That in Italy, very wifeable there. Incredible play from Spirit and the rest of World Elite. I don't know if I've ever seen OMG surrender like that.
That was just surreal, Pastry
That
time.
was surreal.
And Monte Cristo had the same reaction, of course, when the G Tigers were taken down. But this is a new World Elite, and we have a replay just to re-examine some of the amazing team fights. So, of course, we're going to see that last fight that prompted the surrender, you have to remember. So we'll roll the tape. This was when Loveling found Ari and took half his health in the engage. So it definitely wasn't the right thing. Aluka overextended to get on top of Uzi. Knew that Uzi's flash was up, but still engaged. Just watch the team play and kills that come through. Especially this engage. The spear hits cool behind because the first member explodes. And then they just kept chasing. I'm not sure if we'll watch the rest of this, but of course kept chasing. Took down Going even under his turret. That's the big thing. The teamwork between this team, the heal, as you mentioned, at absolutely the last second, because Going did a very smart thing. The moment he turned into Mega Gnar, the use of the Gnar was very creative. The actual scoop, it wasn't a misfire. That was exactly what he needed to do. But wait for this. It's actually the summoner heal from his good Korean AD carry friend Mystic. Synergy between teammates, definitely an all-time high for this World Elite lineup. And what a first result.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say, so let's just go into the next game. We're going to take a quick break, catch our breath, and you at home should do the same thing. World Elite versus OMG Game 2 is coming right up.